Hey everybody, I'm Matty Matheson. What is up? Today, Esquire's asked me to talk about a couple of my favorite things. I like to buy knives and I like to buy vintage t-shirts. And these are some of the things that really make me happy. And I'm gonna show you my favorite shirts. I got about 5 of them here and I got a couple knives. This is a knife collection. Thanks Esquire for wondering about some of my stuffs. Today, I'm gonna talk to you about, here's some t-shirts. You know, a lot of people are always like, where do you get your shirts? I get my shirts from all over the world. You know, I buy vintage, literally from, who knows, a random Instagram account, some stores that I love from around the world. 2 years ago, I was bopping around San Francisco, you know, in Haight-Ashbury, looking for some dead shirts. Obviously, there's a lot of new ones, not really a lot of vintage, actual good Grateful Dead shirts, but something I found, which is really cool. I found a Fishbone Shirt. This obviously doesn't really fit me. Let me try it on, I'll show you. Yeah, this one doesn't fit, okay? But that is something that, you know, I don't buy clothes on if they fit me. I buy clothes if I like them, because I treat them kind of like little jewels. And I think this Fishbone Shirt, this Fishbone Shirt is a good example of just, you know, I went into a vintage store, it's crazy. It was one of those finds, I got it, literally, I think it was like $17. If you're into the reselling game, I know this shirt probably goes for a lot of money, but I'm just happy to have one. It's kind of one of those iconic vintage shirts that everyone's kind of looking for. This is a little bit of a white whale, and you know, racism. Straight up, you. My next shirt, I'm a huge, well, I shouldn't say, I'm not a huge Black Flag fan. I am a Black Flag fan, but Rollins band is something that I don't know, it's too groovy to be real. I love Rollins band very much, and I got an original part animal, part machine, and this shirt, I think is just one of those things that like, so sick, and I think search and destroy, you know, it's such a good saying, you know? You're searching, you're destroying, and I think destroy is almost like a positive. Kind of doing the best what you can with what you got. And I think, you know, destroying is kind of just making it happen, having fun. Look at that hole. That's a good hole right there. That's a good hole right there. I have search and destroy on my hands here. I got that tattooed. I'm obviously a really big Iggy and the Stooges fan, and I was eating at this restaurant in Parkdale, and literally Iggy Pop walks in wearing like sandals, cargo shorts, like the funniest version of Iggy Pop. I guess just him being completely normal. And it was the first time ever that I geeked out and I saw like a real celebrity ever in my life. And I was just like, oh my God, that's Iggy Pop. That's Iggy Pop. And you know, I calmed myself down. I just was dumbfounded and I was just like, I'm not gonna bug Iggy Pop. I'm not gonna go up and be like, hey, look at my tattoo. You know, sometimes it's better to leave things unsaid, you know? And I wasn't gonna ruin the way I thought about Iggy Pop to anybody. So, you know, I think Henry Rollins loved Iggy Pop and the Stooges, and I think Search and Destroy is just such an iconic kind of thing. Yeah, that shirt's one of my favorites, okay? Now, here we go. This shirt, I got an original Brent Midland memorial shirt. And I think Brent Midland is one of my favorite keyboardists of the Grateful Dead. This shirt is just iconic. Shout out to Taylor and Deadhead. I got this off him, off Deadhead. Check out Deadhead on IG. But this shirt to me is just like one of those white whales of shirts. If you're a Deadhead, I think this shirt is one of those iconic shirts. Rest in peace, Brent. It's just one of those shirts, it's iconic. Now, we're gonna switch gears here. So I had a TV show on Viceland called Dead Set on Life. And that title comes from Dead Set on Destruction from Husker Du. And when I had my heart attack it was funny. I wanted to open a bar with my buddy Brian called Dead Set on Destruction. And we wanted to make the kind of mankiest, shittiest dive bar ever called Dead Set on Destruction. And then I had my heart attack from doing, you know, some drugs. And they said, I guess you're not gonna open up that bar Dead Set on Destruction. Why don't you get like Dead Set on Life? And that's where the name Dead Set on Life comes from. I had a show called Dead Set on Life. And this is, you know, Candy Apple Gray is my favorite Husker Du album. There's a song on it, Dead Set on Destruction on it. To me, this is like the craziest shirt I own, actually. Just because it means so much to me. Husker Du, you know, it's the best. Now, this is, I think, just the coolest. This is from 89, right? 86. So this is from 86, from a Dead and Petty and Dylan tour. Had Minneapolis, Akron, Buffalo, Washington. What a run. Look at that. It's got a surfing skeleton. It's, you know, just one of those shirts. That Old English Grateful Dead font is so sick. The skull, the steely is just fire. You know, these are some of the shirts that mean a lot to me. Sorry I don't have some big watch collection or some fancy cars or a bunch of really expensive designer bags or some shit, but got a bunch of really old, shitty, yellow armpitted t-shirts with a bunch of holes in them. All right? So, moving on. Knives are kind of, I feel, kind of like watches or even more special. They last forever, good ones do, and you can hand them down to your family. And, you know, I've been a fan of Bob Kramer for some time. I've been using his knives for years, and I just love kind of everything about them. They're a big handle, it's fat, it's a fat f***ing handle. You can't really get Bob Kramer original knives. They're kind of like these hidden artifacts. Some chefs I know have them, not a lot of chefs. I always wanted original. I don't even know, it's very difficult to even find them because nobody wants to give them up. About what, a month, 2 months ago, I was asked by my buddy Joel and Dal at Don Alone Records. They were doing this silent auction and raising money for Black Lives Matter. And they're like, do you have anything? I was like, I don't know if I have. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna give a pan? And I was like, I don't wanna give a knife. But then I was just like, nah, f it. I'm gonna give one of my knives. So I had a Bob Kramer that I use in I've used in a lot of videos. And it was my favorite Bob Kramer. But the thing that's kind of crazy is I gave my knife up for a silent auction, and it was one of the biggest items. I think it raised literally like over $7,000. I follow Bob and Bob follows me, and we've had a few communications. And then Bob hit me up and wrote me this really beautiful kind of note, just saying like how he's so stoked that I put that knife up, and he wanted to send me a new knife to kind of replace the one that I kind of paid forward. He sent me a new knife, and he sent me like an original Bob Kramer. And to me, this is like probably my most prized knife. I've been a fan for so long, and that was very touching. So this means a lot to me. This is like the most important line of knives that I own. I have a pretty large knife collection. This is a knife made by Isamu Yamaguchi. These knives have a wild story. So I first wanted to get these knives based just purely on aesthetic. Japanese knives with like octagonal handles. I love round handled knives because I have big meaty paws, and I always find that the handles are too skinny. And I saw my friend and incredible chef, Aitor, he posted on his Instagram that he got this knife and the handle was just this beautiful, there's no guard on it. It's just a single piece of wood. And he posted this thing, and I hit him up. I was like, what are these knives? This knife looks like the most perfect knife in the world to me. And he was just like, yo, I got these knives at this knife store in Beverly Hills. And then I was just like, I'm going to this knife store to find these knives. So Isamu Yamaguchi-san, he has a pretty special story. He was born in 1927 in Tokyo. He never left Tokyo ever. His father was a knife maker, and he was the only son that stuck with it and learned the art of knife making. And all of these knives are, you know, kind of lost in time because he never kept track of when those knives were made. He kind of made knives. Every single sheath is handmade by him. He made 100% of the knife himself. He forged every blade, he sharpened every blade. When he was still apprenticing under his father, he lost his thumb in a grinding wheel. And these knives are so old that there's copper. He used copper to forge and layer steel together. So I have 7 of these knives. I do use them. They are impeccable knives. You know, to own these knives and to use these knives is very special because every single one is just one of a kind. I think it is just such a beautiful story, and to use them, I think, is what really matters. You don't want to just take these and put them up on the wall. You want to take these and you want to use them. From thinking something was cool to like really kind of going deeper and understanding something just a little bit, you know, just a little. I'm still learning, so you know. These are a couple of my favorite things that I own. Knives and t-shirts, I guess, are the things that make me kind of the happiest out of the possessions that I have. And, you know, I just want to thank Esquire for having me on. You know, hopefully you guys have a great day and appreciate your time. Hopefully, you know, you got a couple things in your life that make you happy. All right, take care. World peace.